A very good morning, students. We'll start our lecture 6 of fundamental course with sowing and methods of sowing. What is sowing? Placement of seed in the seed bed at appropriate depth and a distance where soil environment is ideal for optimum germination and crop stand establishment. We call it as sowing, such that where we have to place the seed at an optimum depth and optimum distance in order to get a proper germination and a good crop stand. We call it as sowing. For sowing, the efficiency depends on the time, method and the depth of the sowing. So time of the sowing is the first. The basic principle behind optimum sowing time is the difference in the phases of the crop and should coincide with the optimum weather to yield a remunerative crop. That is, if you see delayed sowing invariably reduces the yield attributing to the exposure of the crop to the different stresses such as temperature, light, rainfall, pest and diseases. And if you see, however, the optimum sowing time has not a practical under the rain-fed and dryland condition. It is again depend upon the availability of moisture that decides the sowing time. The next is the depth of the sowing. At what depth you have to place the seed such that the seedling emerges at a bigger rate. You see here, the uneven depth of sowing results in uneven crop stand. Too shallow or too deep leads to the lower plant population owing to the poor germination of seeds. Under such circumstances, crop appear to be uneven spread over the entire field. The optimum time or optimum depth of seeds is generally decided by a thumb rule. The thumb rule is such that sow the seeds at a depth at approximately 3 to 4 times the diameter of the seeds. You have to sow the seeds approximately 3 to 4 times the diameter of the seeds, and the optimum depth of the sowing for most of the crop is 3 to 5 centimeter. A shallow depth of 2 to 3 centimeter is recommended for the small seeded seeds such as ragi, bajra, sesamum, and very small seed like tobacco, it should be placed at a centimeter of 1 centimeter depth. Generally, the thumb rule is 3 to 4 times the diameter of the seeds, and optimum depth of sowing is 3 to 5 centimeter. The size of the seeds determines the depth of the sowing. The next we'll discuss regarding the methods of sowing. We have various methods of sowing such as broadcasting, dibbling, drilling, transplanting, planting and putting the seeds behind the plough, which we also called as plough sow method of sowing. So the types of sowing, first is the dry sowing, where adapted in mainly the black soil, where sowing is done prior to the rainfall or broadcasting to the entire field. The fields are prepared in a summer rains and seeds sown in a dry soil around 7 to 10 days before the anticipated rain. The next wet sowing is that most common type of sowing where minimum amount of rainfall for sowing is at least 20 mm. Under such circumstances, we can go for the sowing and the moisture is wasted during the recipient of rainfall. The next, broadcasting. Here, if you see, the seeds are scattered by hand all over the field, prepared field, followed by covering with the wooden plank or harrow. Crops such as wheat, paddy, sesamum can be sown by broadcasting method. The advantage is the quickest and cheapest method. Skilled labor is not required for this broadcasting technique, and the implement is not required and followed by in a moisture condition. The major disadvantage with respect to the broadcasting technique, it is very unscientific method. Cross seed requirement is very more, and the crop stand is not uniform. The spacing is not maintained within the rows and lines. Hence, intercultural operation becomes very difficult. This is the broadcasting method of sowing. The next is drill or line sowing method, which is mostly preferred by the farmers. That is, to overcome the problems of broadcasting, drilling the seeds in a line has come into the practice. Crop can be sown in lines with the seed drill, seed cum fertilizer drill or mechanical seed drills, and crop like jawar, wheat and bajra can be sown this method. The advantage is proper and uniform depth, intercultural operation can be practiced, sowing is done at a optimum moisture level, and the disadvantage with respect to this is require implement for the sowing and plant to plant spacing is not maintained. If skilled labor, if it is not maintained, it is results in competition. So skilled labor is required for the sowing of this under the line sowing method. You can see here the seed fertilizer drill, and this is traditional practice with plough sowing. The next, dibbling, where the placing or dibbling of seeds at a cross mark made in a field with the help of a marker as per the requirement of a crop in both the direction. It is done manually by dibbler. This method is followed in crops such as groundnut, castor, cotton, mainly high spaced crops. We go with the dibbling technique, and when seed availability is very less, you can go with the dibbling sowing. The advantage is spacing between the row and plant is maintained. Seed can be dibbled at a desired depth. Optimum plant population can be maintained, and the seed requirement is less as compared to other method. The disadvantage is that labor and time consuming, require more labor, hence increases the cost of cultivation. The next, transplanting technique. It is raising of seedling on a nursery bed and transplanting of seedling into the field, mainly followed in the paddy field. For the seedlings are allowed to grow for 3 to 5 weeks. The beds are watered once the day after the transplanting. The field is irrigated before the actual planting to get the seedling establishment, and this method is followed in many crops such as paddy, fruit, vegetables and tobacco. Then planting, it is placing of vegetative part of the crop which are vegetative propagated laid into the field. Example, the tubers of potato, mother sets of ginger and turmeric, cuttings of sweet potato, generally planted. It is not sown, it is planted. The putting of seed behind the plough or plough sowing. It is dropping of seed behind the plough in the furrows with the help of manual labor. This method is followed in crops such as gram in some areas for better utilization of soil moisture. Then after understanding the sowing, there is another important operation called as thinning. What is thinning? The removal of excess plant after germination from the crop field or seed bed is called as thinning. And why it is done? In order to maintain an optimum population, in order to reduce the competition, we need to practice the thin so that we get a good crop stand. And next operation is gap filling. That is, several animals and birds feed on many seeds after they are sown. So in order to overcome that gap between the lines, you have to gap fill the place where seeds are absent, and you have to get an optimum plant stand. Yes. The next is objectives of thinning and gap filling is that the ultimate goal is to ensure optimum plant population. Plant population more than optimum creates a competitive conditions, and less than optimum results in less use of space, irrigation, water and other inputs. So this is all about sowing and objectives of sowing.